and welcome to Colorful Creative Watercolors, and it's Paint It Friday, and we are going to paint some lemons. So we did not do a sketch for this this tutorial because we're just going to paint freehand. So right now I'm making a nice little border around my cold pressed watercolor paper. And you can use any size you want. I have a half of a 9 by 12 sheet. That's usually how I paint for our Paint It Fridays. And I'm just trying to make sure my borders are pretty much even all the way around, because I think at the end when you're finished, this will be a nice frameable picture, especially if you have a lemony area in your home. So, so let's finish up here with the taping. As you can see, I'm using painter's tape. So first I'm going to show you the colors we're going to use, which of course we're going to use a lemon yellow. Any kind of a lemony colored yellow that you have on your palette is fine. And then for the next color, I'm going to use a cadmium red because I like to drop a little bit of that cadmium red in there, just to give a little bit more of an orangey color, but a light, just, for shadows and just add some depth. And then I'm going to go with a hooker's green, because what I'll do is at some point I will mix that hooker's green with the lemon yellow, which will make a nice color green. And then we're going to follow up by indigo, and we'll use that for shadows. And there are our four colors. And a lot of those colors will be mixing together quite often, but that will be our color palette. So let's get started, and first I'm going to grab that lemony yellow, and it's going to be a lighter of the lemony yellow with a little bit more water, and I'm just going to draw out the outline of or the shape of what I would consider a lemon. And you can practice freehand sketching these, or you can practice it on some scrap paper, because a lot of times when you first do it, it's not, at first it's like, okay, that's not a lemon shape, but you'll see throughout the video where I will actually transform that. I'll keep transforming it until I think it looks like a lemon. I'm starting in the middle because we are going to do several lemons on here. So I'm just kind of I'm just outlining there. And I'm doing it in a lighter version. And then at the very bottom, I'm just going to make a little bit of a little pointed tip down there. So now I'm just adding a little bit more of that lemony yellow, just a little bit darker. And I'm doing the wet on wet. I'm just going around there, just keeping in some shadows and some lighter areas. And I wet my brush there just to make it a little bit lighter in that one area. So now I'm adding some of that, little bit of that cadmium red, a very, very light, more watered down version of the cadmium red, just to give a little bit of just another little color in there. And then we'll blend that in. So if you think you get too much, that's the beauty of watercolors. You can always just blend that right in there, and it will just give it a little bit of a darker color. And you'll see at some points where my lemon becomes a little bit bigger because I went outside my lines there a little bit. So I'm going to just drop some cadmium red here and there, and then just put a little bit more water on my brush and just damp it off, and then just go in and smooth some of that around. That's pretty much how we'll be doing this through the whole lemon. It's going to be a lot of adding in and smoothing out. So I'm going to reshape my lemon there a little bit, put some more of that cadmium red in, and then I will smooth it out again. Because I don't want it to look completely orange, but I just do want to have it mixed in with that yellow. Now I'm just redefining my lines there of my lemon. And you'll find that as you're doing this, if you continue to have issues, just keep working at it. You'll be fine. But just make sure you're using light light touches with your paintbrush. So we'll just keep filling that in. I'll put a little bit, drop a little bit more cadmium red in there because I just felt it needed a little bit more. I like where it goes down towards that point a little bit. Does a normal lemon do that? Maybe, maybe not, but this is what I like to add, just to add some more texture to it. And I'm just going down into where I have that little tip down there of my lemon. And now I'm just, again, redefining my sides. And this is our first series of for this month for our Paint It Fridays for our Facebook group, Watercolor Tutorials and Inspiration. And right now I'm stippling on a little bit of a darker version of the lemon yellow, because you know the lemon has that, you know, this little I can't think of the word, you know, it's not a smooth texture. So it's just kind of stippling in there a little bit. Just no rhyme or reason, just going around and stippling it. I still want to try and preserve that lighter area over on that top right of that lemon. And just redefining again my lemon. Now I'm just going to make a little bit of a ridge up there for where the little stem will come out. And I used a little bit of indigo. And I'm just smoothing it in. A very light version of that indigo. Added a little bit more yellow in there. And I'm basically just continuing to work at it and layer on my paint until I get it to where I feel that I'm satisfied with it. So I take my paintbrush, my paper towel. I'm just trying to get a lot of the water off of my paintbrush so I can smooth it in a little bit better. You'll find that if you struggle with water control, having a paper towel in your hand while you're painting is pretty helpful, or having one close by to help blot some of the excess water so you can blend a little bit easier. So still trying to get some more of those little stipples in there. I think that was the word I was looking for earlier. All right. I'm going to hold it up straight to me because when I film, sometimes my light is a little too bright, and when I'm wanted to have it, just look at it in a different light, I like to hold that up so I can get a better look at it. So now as I mix up a little bit more paint, what I'm going to do is we're going to go on our practice sheet, and I'm going to show you like different ways we can make leaves. There's a stem. And I'm just mixing up the paint. Basically, I want to mix up my green with my yellow, and because I want the leaves to have more of a yellow undertone to it with the green. So I'm just going to show how just make some, just using your brush, using the tip going down to the belly and then lifting up to make some leaves. I'm just showing practicing different techniques. Which is the one that I want to use? I'm not sure. So we'll try several different ones here with the way I hold the brush. So having that practice paper next to you is always helpful before you actually put it on your watercolor paper. And that's the one I think there I'm going to use. So now let's add some leaves to our lemon. So I'm just getting that mixture up. You want to start with a lighter value so that you can add in some of the darker values. whenever you're watercoloring, you pretty much want to start with a light value, because you can always darken it, but sometimes depending on if it's staining or a non-staining watercolor, you're not always able to lighten it once you darkened it. So I like to start with a lighter value and then add in my darker tones, which I'm just going to do right there. To my leaf. Does it look like a true lemon leaf? Probably not. I'm not so much worried about that. Some people may feel that they need it to look like an exact replica. That's not my style of painting. I just do what looks right to me in my mind. So now we're going to make some more lemons. So I'm just going to go randomly, like on the corners, on the sides, and like that will be the top of a lemon peeking up through there. And I'm going to rinse off my brush. See, I did go kind of heavy-handed in there. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more of that red. But I knew I was going to want that dark to begin with, so I wasn't so worried about it. But I am adding in that cadmium red. And you're pretty much going to follow the same technique as you did in the beginning. So then here I'm going to paint 2 little lemons side by side. And I'll get them in, and once I get my shape right. Sometimes getting that first shape put together isn't quite easy, but it comes to it in the end. So I want to make sure that I have that little point there at the bottom, but then I also want to make sure that those sides come up a little more rounded, so it doesn't look so much like a strawberry shape. We'll get that second lemon in there. And we're just going to pretty much do the same techniques as we did with the first lemon. Now the first lemon, though, the center one, that is your central focus lemon. Your other lemons, it's up to you, but don't need to be as much detail as the first one. But I'm still trying to get that shape in there. Because as I'm painting, I'm thinking, oh, these are starting to look more like a balloon shape and not a lemon shape. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. So as I mix up my paint, remember we can mix some of that cadmium red with the yellow, or just drop it right in there. And then remember we can add some water, clean off our brush, and then just smooth it out. Just smooth out that cadmium red. And like I said, it just gives it another little color in there. So it's not just all completely yellow. All right. Add some more yellows in there. Redefine that side a little bit. And we'll just keep hitting that in. Don't forget, in 2 weeks, we'll be doing the apples and bananas. We'll be doing that, and pretty much in the same way as we're doing this for our Paint It Fridays. Like I said, there will be no sketch. We're just going to freehand paint. And your painting is going to be different than mine because you may not need to lift or do as much as I do on mine. This is just more or less to teach you the technique of how you can do this. So I'm just doing a little bit of stippling on there. And then once we are satisfied with our lemons, then we can create some of the stems and the leaves. And then we see what we're going to do next. We're going to wait and do our stems and leaves until we paint in some more lemons. I think what we want to do is we want to have our lemons dry a little bit before we add on our stems and leaves. And it's all going to be the same technique. All these little added lemons we're going to do, it's all going to be the same technique as we did for our first lemon. And just remember, at any time you can pause, you can rewind, you can go back, you can skip ahead, you can stop watching, you can do whatever you need to do, because that's the beauty of YouTube. I'm usually one of those, if I watch a tutorial, I watch the tutorial first the entire way, and then I go back and pick the spots where I feel that I need the most help on when I'm recreating this, recreating a painting, or just learning how to do the techniques itself. Now we're going to go back and we're going to add some of those leaves and stems on. Remember, I'm starting with the lighter value and then adding in some of my darker values just to give it some depth. And then we'll do the same with those two lemons. What I like about this painting here is when we get to the very end, it would actually become a frameable picture. So if you have a lemony kitchen or a lemony theme somewhere, you can always then, when you're finished, you frame it. Or you can also, depending on what size you paint this composition, you can turn it into a greeting card. So get those leaves on there. And we'll get leaves on this last one. Actually, it's not the last one. We will be painting some other lemons along the sides. That lemon there looks like an egg shape, but you know what? I'm not mad about it, because it doesn't matter to me. I just like the whole yellow and green combinations, and just makes a nice bright sunny picture. I'm just going along and just putting the sides of lemons on the edges there. It looks like it froze up here a little bit. Oh. And then we'll do the tip of it, the end tip of a lemon coming out. And we'll put in the, stipple in some of that Cadmium Red, which Cadmium Red sometimes can look a little bit orange. And that's kind of why I chose that color to go with this composition. I'll get the tip of that lemon up there. And a little bit over here. I'll make a little bit of that shine over there. And then we'll just finish up, put some leaves over there. And then you always want to look back at your composition and like, okay, what more does it need? Does it need more? Just remember, you don't want to overwork your paintings. This isn't a particularly dark painting. I didn't want it to be dark. I wanted it to be bright and lemony, happy. So just you stand up and you look at your painting. Where can I go? Where can I improve? So there I needed to add some darker values to my leaves. And with that, you can even add some of the indigo. Because the indigo, I did add to some of the greens to make it darker. So with your leaves, you can do, you can add the lemon to the hooker's green and make it a lemony color. But then you can also add some indigo because it's like a really like a bluish tint, and add that to your greens to add a little bit more of a darker value. But it brings all of your colors together. And that's what I've done there. I've added some indigo to that green. All right, so now we look at our painting and we're like, you know what? Are we done? Yes, no. I think we need to add a little bit more to this. So what I did was I watered my lemon yellow down, and I water with a lot of water, and now I'm just splattering some of that yellow onto the painting. I do like the splatter effect. Some people don't. You can skip this step. I just like the look of it. I do. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit more of that lemony yellow with some water. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to, some of those I'm just going to dot on, just soak up some of the liquid in it, but it'll still leave a little hint of that splatter there. And then you just go around and look and see, do I need to add any more to that? Like I said, you can skip this step if you need to. So now let's take our tape off, and look how I take the tape off. You go away from the painting. That will help eliminate a lot of tearing of your watercolor paper. So there you go, pull away from your paper. And we'll do that with the other side, or the bottom. You're going to pull away from the paper, and it leaves just a nice border on there. That's why I like using the painter's tape. And our painting is finished. And here is what the final version looks like. So hey, thanks for watching, and see you on the next time. Stay colorful, stay creative, and have fun. Okay, bye-bye.